Hey guys, let's talk the Jaeger LeCoultre. That doesn't sound quite right. The Jaeger LeCoultre. I don't know. The Jaeger LeCoultre. The JLC Master Control Collection. Is it worth your time? Is it worth your money? Let's do it. So I have here a JLC Master Geographic reference 147857S, part of the Master Control collection. So the Master Control is basically a standard in which JLC has tested the swatch and movement for 1,000 hours before it ever made it into a box and off to an authorized dealer. So in terms of just sheer quality assurance, this is probably at the absolute top end. We're going to use this watch to talk a little bit about JLC, the brand, the Master Control collection, and ultimately determine whether or not all of these JLC accolades are really worth the hype. So let's start off with JLC, the brand. JLC was founded back in 1833 by Antoine LeCoultre, and this guy was an absolute genius and engineering at heart. He invented the most precise measuring instrument of his time and used that instrument in order to make the watch movements that he produced even more precise. The JLC brand came to be in the 1930s when Antoine's grandson met Edmond Jaeger, and they partnered to basically dominate the horological world. JLC has over 1,200 calibers of their own, 400 patents. They've provided movements to every brand of the Holy Trinity. So that includes Audemars Piguet, Vacheron Constantin, and Patek Phillipe, which has earned JLC the title of the watchmaker's watchmaker. So in terms of heritage, in terms of history, JLC is absolutely there. Just known for an innovative and well-engineered company. This is one of their simpler watches. In fact, they have a series of grand complication watches ranging from gyro tourbillons to minute repeaters. So an absolute powerhouse in terms of innovation for watch movements and the likes. Let's use this watch to talk a little bit more about what kind of details can you expect out of a JLC Master Control watch. So JLC has often been noted as the watch brand that provides Rolex price watches with Patek Phillipe quality. Now, I don't know if this is really an accurate statement, but we're going to use this watch to start talking about it here. So first off, you can tell it's quite a busy dial. Let's not try to kid ourselves here. However, very functional. So I'm going to start off with the functions. You have a power reserve to the left, so up to 40 hours of power reserve for this movement. A day-night indicator on the right subdial, as well as the date on the outboard of that dial. So you can read the date with the longer hand and the day-night indicator with the shorter hand. And then you have at the 6, you have the second time zone, and to the left of that, again, a 24-hour indicator so that you know if it's day or night in the second time zone. Very useful, considering that this watch can actually tell the time of multiple time zones across the world by a simple twist of one of this crown on the side. So a very convenient feature. And in fact, I use this watch as a true tool watch in my daily work life, just because of the nature of my job, having to keep track of multiple time zones across the world and some minor international travel. So this is definitely my travel watch. The details are certainly there. Let's talk about some of the things that stand out for this watch. Beautiful heat blued steel hands, not only for the seconds, but for the subdials as well. In fact, it's very difficult to even see the color of these hands because they often appear black in most lighting until you hit it directly on the spot, and then you can see that brilliant cobalt blue. Really great use of coloration as well. A nice 31 red pop so that you can differentiate the 31 and the 1 so you don't read 311 for the date. Nice reds on the power reserve as well as the 6 o'clock so that it highlights London being the GMT time, as well as the red pip to indicate which time zone you are in. I particularly like the detail to the subdials here, and I don't have to do a close-up, but it is a very nice concentric ring engraving, and it's not only for the second time zone subdial, but also for the day-night indicator. So just really good attention to detail. Of course, all on this really nice sunburst silvered dial. Let's flip the watch over, and that will expose to you the Jaeger LeCoultre in-house caliber. I'll have to admit, on first glance, this movement looks pretty industrial, not too fancy. But upon closer inspection, you'll really see the quality. A nice 22 karat gold trimmed rotor with the very nice gold embossed lettering, again indicating the 1,000 hours of quality assurance. You have a concentric striping pattern here, very uniform, so it looks a little industrial, but very nicely done and plays well with the light. Of course, heat blued steel screws, and then a nice perlage base plate hiding behind all of this goodness. Now, one complaint I have about a lot of these master control movements is that they're often unidirectional in terms of winding, and they do make a pretty nice winding sound when they wind. And so, you know, if you're looking for something very silent, this is not it. But personally, I find it rather romantic. Another thing I'll say about JLC movements in general really is that the manual winding mechanism is just buttery smooth, the smoothest that I've really encountered among many, many watches. So what I think about this watch, I'm going to have to say the phrase that you're getting a Rolex price watch for a Patek Phillipe price, or rather Rolex priced watch for a Patek Phillipe quality, is a bit of an overstatement. However, when you're thinking in terms of what JLC stands for, innovation, engineering, heritage, and the price you're paying, this is an absolute stunning collection to consider for, you know, a dress watch around the Rolex price zone. I'll also say I made some negative comments about the movements and the finishing. However, in the 2017, I would say, and later models, the movement has been much upgraded, and they now have this really nice 22 karat JLC rotor that looks absolutely stunning, and it's a lot more differentiation there. So one of the negatives already eliminated in newer models. So the JLC Master Control, if you're looking for a dress watch, definitely somewhere to start with.